Hello internet, and today your boy's a little bit sick. I do apologize if I sound like I am, because I am. But today we got a tier list, and if you don't know what's happening, we are going to obtain a free LD character as an event for fun, basically. It's gonna happen on September 25th, and all you really gotta do is to log in for 7 days in a row, and these are the characters you can choose from. There's Messiah, Mio, Doki, Heinrich, Lily, Shadow Sonya, or Lilium. Weirdly enough, there's no Yelly, which is a shame, but hey, I'm not complaining for, about a free LD character with Lily involved. Like, that is a character you've always heard of as one of the greatest characters ever in the game. So today we got a tier list of who you can choose, and I'm gonna break it down in terms of PvE and PvP for casual and for tryhards, right? As much as I can. Hopefully it's gonna help you out. Right, so in the bottom here we got the free characters. This is not a tier. I just want to put them in here in one list so you see all the potential free characters you can get. And then we have 4 tiers. Now I don't even know if there's gonna be a need for 4 tiers. I'm thinking more of it might just be 3 tiers in the end, but we'll have 4 for now. Top tier, definitely the one that if you get, you're not gonna regret. Second tier, not as much, but still good. Third tier, really not too good, but you can get them. They're probably a lot nicher. And then the worst one would be characters that it's rare for you to want to use at this juncture in time, or they're no longer as strong. Now, I don't even think there's any bad options, so we might not even need the C tier though. In any case, let's just jump right in. First of all, we got Mio. Mio, I'm actually gonna put in the A tier. Now, not exactly so the S tier, because Mio at the start of the game was insane. She's speedy, you can outspeed, and at that point, no one even had bulwark, no one even had any idea what they're doing. You just outspeed Mio, get your team to turn, and then you just kill them. That is one of the basic ways Mio's good at being played at, but currently Mio's more like a mix of opener. You can race with her, some people still do, or you can use her as a CC character that also has a very unique debuff named Wound. Now that is very good when the enemy is trying to Tiamat you. You can use Mio plus the wounds effect on her S2 to just stop this Tiamat from reviving via the Amber and then just wipe your team if you're trying to control their team. So Mio in that setup is extremely strong. Now we don't gotta listen from me. We can look at the top tier players right here. You're gonna see a Mio right there, right? Mio with Plume, as in like a kind of control setup, is definitely a very popular way to play her. She can CC, she can push up yourself, your whole team. She can push behind the enemy team. And overall with the wound as well, she's even good in like a CC team against bruisers that wants to heal up, which is why Mio, I do think, is a really good character, deservedly in the A tier. Now, the reason why she's not S tier, which I'm gonna get into soon as well, is unfortunately in PvE, she's not as good as some other options that we have here, right? We're gonna get into like who that person is. I'm sure you know, like it's not that crazy. It's a pretty obvious answer. But yeah, Mio in PvE, you can use her in Doki mostly. Anywhere else you can still force her, but most of the time you're gonna see Mio in like Doki being really good. Just push up your one-shot setup and then kill them just like that. But then in other PvE stages, it's harder for you to like have a Mio in there. She lacks the attack buff for your character. She lacks like the defense down or speed down on the enemy. Yes, she has speed up as well, which I will have to mention is really good in a control setup in PvP. In PvE, still good. Not as good as the S tier, I would say. Close though. I would actually say close. So next off, let's just start off with the S tier so you know who it is. Like, I'm just gonna put in the Lily. Now, I put in this Lily here for a few reasons. We're gonna like cover all of them, PvP and PvE. For PvP, Lily is still a very strong character, especially in lower elo. But the higher you go, the less Lily you're gonna see, but you're still gonna see her. Like, you can obviously tell, at least in the top 100, there's not as much Lily as you would think. There's more of like Dokis. There's more like other options, but not as much Lilies. They're still there. Don't get me wrong, they're still there. A couple of Dokis there, but you're not actually gonna be able to just brain dead spam Lily in higher ranks for a few reasons, right? Reason number 1, she could be post-banned or pre-banned. She's still like always banned. That's the type of character we're talking about. That's why she's so good. And secondly, there's no secondly really. It's probably that she got banned or pre-banned, right? She's that good even in higher elo. It's just a really good character. You can use her aggressively. You can use her with control team to reset the control character and then just spam your CCs. You can pair her with bruisers as well to just get the dual attack and the speed up in general to help your bruiser cycle faster than the opponent. A very good style of play is where you use Lily with Tiamat. Tiamat turns into Super Saiyan mode. You got Lily to dual attack with Tiamat, and Tiamat during the Super Saiyan mode does AoE damage. It's a lot of damage. That's her in PvP. She's just so usable no matter what your draft is. She's fast as well. She can help your team get the turn. I'm sure you've listened to enough glaze on Lily, and she deserves all the acknowledgement she has. She's just really strong, right? Now in PvE, not to mention easily any endgame mode, I think in PvE, you can see a Lily. You will see a Lily. Be it using Lily with Lilium as one of the most popular one-shots or any endgame modes right now, or Lily with Yelly, which is still a popular combo to bring in most PvEs. There's Lily with D-Ting, which is like the more casual free-to-play approach because D-Ting's free, or D-Ting's a lot easier to get than a Yelly. I myself use that. It carried me for a lot of endgames. I only recently built my Lilium, and she works wonders with Lilium as well. PvP, same thing. I've used her in just a race comp. I've used her with Revelation spam, used her with just CC spams. She's good no matter what most of the time in any elo, so S tier easily. And yeah, that's why I've put Mio in A tier, because it's not exactly the type of character you can think, oh, I'm just gonna pick it every game. The enemy's either gonna have to ban it or I'm just gonna win. It's good, but not that good in my opinion. Next off, Doki. I'm actually gonna put Doki damn near the same tier. I'm gonna just, yeah, you know what? Same tier as Lily. And this is more purely for PvP. So it's hard for me. I would maybe put it in between S and A, but closer to S, I would say, is Doki Doki. Take a look at the top tier players. Doki Doki is actually there. You know, top 1, top 2, Doki is there. With freaking characters like Plume in a scene where she has a lot of debuffs, Doki Doki helps out with cleansing all those debuffs. Same with any CCs. If your Doki can outspeed, a very annoying type of team comp would be a CC team. They just want to outspeed you and start stunning or freezing you. Something like this with Obel, with Mio, stuff like that, right? So the moment you get stunned or slept or whatever, you just die. You just get perma control. That's very annoying. But if you have a Doki, you can outspeed. You can pretty much cleanse any debuff so long as you've clicked S3. And if you do that, any CC teams just dies. Any Obels is no longer much of a threat, which makes Doki really strong. And even if you don't fight against debuffs or CC, Doki with the action advance and the reset on the S2 is going to help out in mostly any comp. It could be an aggressive comp. It could be a bruiser comp like rank 1 and 2 here. We got slower comps, bruiser comps. We got Doki plus Butsu with a lot of extra advance with someone like a Tiamat or a Holden. That is just bulky characters that bruise you down. You can cycle a lot faster with someone like Doki in your team. So very good. If they try to debuff you, they can. So good luck with that, right? Therefore, I think Doki is a really strong character, worthy of the S tier. In PvE, she's nowhere close to being as good as Lily, but in PvP, the way you can twist and turn your draft a lot with Doki Doki, I think is her value truly lies if you care for PvP that much. If you're a casual player though, hey, she can still be built as an opener, can still be used very well against CC teams. So even if you're casual or try hard, she's good in both ends. And even in PvE, yes, you can still use her, technically. Like in Doki, I've seen clears where you use Doki Doki to just speed up your team and then you still clear it anyway. But it's not where she shines the most at. In PvP though, you can genuinely pick her every game, first pick her every game, and twist and turn the draft based on what they do. It's a really good advantage to have in my opinion. Therefore, I think she's in the S tier. So next off, we've got Messiah. This one's gonna be a tough one because Messiah it's really simple. You either, if you pick Messiah, you're mostly just trying to cleave them. You're trying to kill them quickly. What sets Messiah apart from any other damage dealer is that he can ignore passive. So the enemy cannot just use Viper to like mitigate your damage. Is what people do with like Yelly. When Yelly tries to attack a Viper, at least her damage is not that crazy. Same with Lilium. At least my Viper can like mitigate some of the crit damage. With Messiah, you ignore it. Viper just gets clapped. It's dead. But the issue is though, your account needs to be good enough for your Messiah to kill through bloodbath spam, which is not for everybody, which is why I think Messiah is really good if you're higher up, when your gear is up there, when your character is up there. But then if you're a casual player, you're trying to cleave, it's gonna be a really tough experience because everyone has bloodbath and you don't even need good bloodbaths. You just need bloodbath to be there and the damage you do is so much lower, right? But hey, let's just check out data. That's where the real information is at. You can see in top tier PvP, there's not as much cleaves. I see one Messiah right there. I see controls, a couple of them. I see another, a mix of control and Messiah. I'm gonna tell you this Messiah is the type that could one-shot even like bloodbath characters, which I don't know if most of us do have that, right? But yeah, using him with Lily, a very popular idea. If you let these two through, Lily pushes him to Messiah, like resets him again, most of the time you're gonna kill. But to get these two together in a team, not that easy, right? Obviously. And then we still see Yelly, but not as much. And we just scroll through all of this. There's a lot less cleaves than there are bruiser or controls. I see another with Heinrich, Tsukiyomi plus Messiah with the defense sprint from Plume. That sounds like a really strong cleave. But outside of cleaving the enemy down, you're not gonna see Messiah at all. So it's a very situational character. I would hate to put him in B tier just because it's hard to use, or it's a character that not a lot of people use. So I'm actually gonna put him in A tier just because if you consider PvE as well, he's actually the type of character that can, if you have good enough gear, clear any PvE content you need. Like he's like a Yelly. It's just a lot of damage. I don't think he's as good as Yelly, but he can definitely pair with Lily, just kill a lot of PvE content. I'm pretty sure. I'm definitely sure that in Doki Doki at least, Messiah can be used with the amount of AoE damage he has. I've seen Messiah clears for Terramaton as well, Inferno, and those works as well, but your Messiah needs to be quite strong. I don't think I'm convinced to put him in big because I do think he's a really good character. Basically the best PvP DPS, pure DPS. I would say matching Yelly. I'm not gonna say who's better because they're both better at certain scenarios, but both of them are really strong. So a best DPS, I don't think I'm gonna put him below A tier. Yeah, that's why Messiah's in A. Very strong in like cleave style of PvP, if that's what you want to play. A very strong pairing is with Lily to just like cycle them twice. Even if they get bloodbath, you have reset at your S3 with Messiah, just one shot them through bloodbath, or 2-shot rather through bloodbath. That is very strong. Also has the invincibility as a source of just protection, which is always going to be helpful. And yeah, for all that reason, I'm gonna put Messiah in A tier. If you choose the Messiah though, you have to understand he is a lot more niche than other options, and he's not the type of character who can pick every game no matter what. You need sufficient support, therefore not an S. Yeah, we might move everything around at the end as well after we see like the whole structure of the tier list and if we're happy with it. But anyways, let's just move on. We're gonna actually leave Heinrich a little bit later because I'm actually confused with Heinrich a little bit, because you know, he seems to be a very skill-based character. Not a lot of people can play him well, in my opinion, but more on that later. Let's just talk about Sonya for now. I'm actually gonna put Sonya in B now, and this is still account dependent and person dependent. Okay, Sonya is really good in a dot team in any PvE content. Not any PvE, but any PvE content where the boss does not have perma immunity or does not have dot immunity. You can pretty much have a free win with the dot team. I'm sure you've seen that before, but honestly, at least with what we've seen in recent updates, most endgames you're gonna see, most content that's released that's hard, they just don't allow dots, because dots is too easy with Sonya. You just kill everything. There's no skills really involved. You just need the right characters. That's it. But then with the recent shell stage, a new shell stage, we see a character that you cannot dot them down that easily. People are still running the Lily plus the Yelly, Lily plus the Deeding, Lily plus the Lilium. You cannot dot them down, instantly making Sonya useless. So it makes Sonya only usable in certain PvE stages, like Teramaton. In fact, I think mainly Teramaton. You can use her in, in a couple of shell stages, but you cannot use her in the newer shell stage, or you cannot use her in the Sharon shell stage because they are immune to dots. So with all that said, I think she is going to be actually in B tier. While a new user, a new account getting Sonya would be really good for you to clear Teramaton, but then down the line, you're going to see less and less use for Sonya. I guess even in Ember Trek, Sonya is going to be very usable, but are you going to blow your free LD on a Sonya when you're missing some S or A tiers? I don't think so. But if you have everyone else and Sonya is the only one you've got left, get yourself the Sonya. And yeah, that's PvE wise. Yeah, she's really good PvE, but a lot of endgame characters, a lot of endgame modes, they just say no dots because dots is too easy. That's what we've seen with the new stage in shell, with the new shell stage, right? For PvP, she's just straight up not that usable. You're not gonna meet a singular Sonya in pretty much any PvP. At least I've never met one. I don't see any single one of her in top tier PvP as well. So yeah, with that said, with a mix of like not that useful in PvP while being nicher in PvE than not, I think I'm gonna put her in B. Not the best choice. Yeah. Next up, we got Lilium. This one's also quite interesting. Lilium is actually, we thought she was like mid, but then she got the buff and now she's actually very, very solid. Yeah, to just take a look at top tier players, I use Lilium myself, using Lilium plus like just a mix of CCs so they don't get to counter me with the CCs. If we look at like top tier players though, I see Lilium right here in a bruiser setup, which is still good. She cuts your HP in half. If you're trying to Tiamat me down, I can just cut your HP in half. Tiamat is way less of a threat at that point. And yeah, we do see Lilium right here with Plume as well, using Tsukiyomi with Lilium, using Lily with Lilium to just double push her, nuke a character down quickly. That is one of the playstyles as well. She has decent survivability. She ignores CC. She cannot be CC. She ignores pushback. She cannot be pushed back. That's all really good for Lilium. Lilium is even used aggressively as well in some comps, like these two right here. We got Lilium with Messiah, which Lilium, you can first pick her if the enemy is trying to control you. They're not going to anymore after seeing the Lilium, and then you can like, you know, see what they're trying to do. If they're trying to tank down, you want to cleave them, go to Messiah, go with the other DPS in Lilium, and then you can just knock them down like that. And then another example, you got a Heinrich, get rid of the Bulwark, get your attack buff, get your Obol to like just stun them. And because you have the Lilium, the enemy cannot go for the Lilium, so your Obol is so much more of a threat. They cannot stop the Obol anymore because in this game, I will actually say there's a lack of cleansers. A lack of cleansers that can be protected against CCs to then protect your team. That is why I think CC is so strong right now. And a lot of people are actually running CCs with Lilium even up top. You pick the Lilium. If they try to like anti-CC you, well, you play accordingly. You could aggressively play with bringing Messiah with Lily and then make Lilium just nuke them down. Or if they're trying to like tank down Bruiser, you could go with the Sleepers. You can go with the Stunners, Obols, Kazuyos, and then they cannot wake up from the Devos because there's a lack of cleansers and there's no one else that's immune to CCs like Lilium is. That's why I think Lilium is actually very strong in PvP right now. Now in PvE, she's actually also very, very strong. In PvP endgame at least, almost every single one shot that's really reliable, really quick, you see a Lilium there. More Lilium than there is Yelly, because Yelly's not the type where you just like want her to one-shot stuff. She's more just balanced everywhere you can use Lily, but you're not gonna one-shot stuff as quick as Lilium can. She has the highest damage output, I would say, for a single target one-shot in PvE endgame. So yeah, she's actually still really good in PvE. With that said, I'm gonna actually put her closer to S, but I don't know, man. It's kind of tough because I'm not gonna say Lilium's as good as freaking Lily, and I'm not gonna say Lilium's as good as Doki, but I'm happy to put her in A, maybe the top of A. Yeah, something like this. Maybe the top of A. Because Lilium, I might even put her in the bottom of S. You know what? Let me know what you think. I think basically, I'm saying, if you already have the Lily, if you have the Doki, I might tell you to go get the Lilium with this free ticket, considering there's no Yelly anyway. Yeah, good in PvE, good in PvP, though you got to know what you're doing, right? But yeah, I'm sure she's gonna be a very valuable DPS for your account. I don't know about being S yet, and I don't want to say she's S for you to just tell me, oh, so does that mean I pick Lilium instead of Lily? I don't think so, right? I still think Lily and Doki will bring more to your account than just getting a Lilium without these two first in your account. Just my opinion, though. Understand that. Just my opinion. They're still all really good characters. Finally, we've got the Heinrich. Now, this one is very skill-based because I don't think you can just like easily use him. You see him in like the top 5. There's one Heinrich right here. But most of the time, if you try to use Heinrich, the enemy's gonna just kill the Heinrich first because it's very squishy, right? So it's not something you can pick easily and expect him to like protect himself and easily beat everything. It's not exactly the type of character to do that. So you need sufficient protection. This person is picking Tiamat with Heinrich. So in one hand, it stops the enemy from Heinriching the Tiamat, which somewhat works as a counter. On the other hand, Tiamat does mitigate damage off of Heinrich, which is, I think, his biggest weakness. He can be burst out quite quickly. One Lilium S3 nuke to kill your Heinrich most of the time. And another way is to use it simply like this. Just use him as a stripper. You strip the enemy bulwark, and then you go with the obol. You have your Lilium as well. They don't get the Lilium. Everyone's stunned. You win from there. And that's basically the two main ways you're going to be using that. This draft right here, no clue how this works. Like this, I cannot break down where the damage source is from here. Maybe Heinrich is the damage source here, but it's a niche tech, I would say, right? So for most players, I don't think Heinrich is the type of character you could just spam and be like, yeah, I'm gonna win. You need to pick dependent on the enemy, depending on what the enemy is doing, depending on your speed too. Like for example, this team right here, I think Heinrich's faster, probably after Plume. So Plume would go first and then Heinrich. Heinrich would get rid of the bulwark, and then Messiah plus Suki would continue on with the cleave, right? Or it's gonna be like a damagey Heinrich as well. Maybe they ban the Lily in this draft. Ban the Lily, Plume goes first, Heinrich plus Messiah has damage output, Suki only pushes one or the other, and then you just wipe them off. Mostly pushing Messiah, obviously. And yeah, you can stop the enemy Hoyen from getting the immortality because you've got the block on Heinrich. That is very strong, but you don't get to use it every time, in my opinion. So with that said, I think it's certainly a niche character. The more you're skilled you are, the better you are at playing Heinrich, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, you do see a couple more Heinrichs in top tier PvP. Look at that. Quite a bit of Heinrichs, actually. So in the end, I'm actually going to rank him around middle of A, because he has more usage than just trying to cleave the enemy. You can strip the enemy. You can put a block on the enemy. You can put a wound on the enemy. It's a lot more use case than just like Messiah, which is a pure DPS, right? I might actually put him above Mia, especially the higher you get in PvP. The more skilled you are at using Heinrich and knowing what you want to do and knowing how the enemy's drafting with a lot of buffs and whatnot, Heinrich becomes a real threat. He could like just one guy be the issue for the enemy, and they don't get any buffs. They cannot heal enough with the wound, and they just die because of it. So that's one use case. Second use case, you use it as a stripper for your obol to like stun, for your CCs to pop off, and the enemy's like, okay, it's a speed Heinrich. I didn't expect that. Or a damage Heinrich. I didn't expect that. It's a pretty wild card character for me. So I'll actually put him around here. Maybe I would rank him exactly the same as where Mia would be, in my opinion. Maybe a bit higher. Right here. Yeah, probably here. Now I will say in PvE, you're not gonna be using Heinrich that much. Yes, you can use him just to strip the immunity off of like one of the bosses like Termaton. You can strip it. People do that, and you can actually use him to put on the vulnerability debuff. See, with Heinrich, you've got this last words debuff, which actually gets more crit damage taken on the enemy, right? So this is just more damage for you. In some PvE setups for one-shots, you can actually utilize this for just extra bit of damage, and it's just helpful. Yeah, for sure. Even in PvP, it's somewhat helpful as well. The big thing, though, is the block. And the big thing, though, is also the wound. Yeah, those are the big things that stops the enemy to, like, just recover and heal, and you just win from there. So I'm gonna put him in A tier. Closer to Lilium than to Mio, I would say. But it's skill-dependent, though. Most people with Heinrich, it's gonna see him get exploded if you played it badly. Like, the enemy's gonna have a hold, and yeah, you click S3 with the Heinrich, but hold in 1S1 into a chain to tie with a Rahu, and then Heinrich just explodes. That's not going to be ideal. Depend on your draft 100%. And that will be my tier list of who you want to obtain from the ticket. As I said, the final tier doesn't really exist. Because I would say, okay, if I'm putting anyone in this tier, it's going to be bad characters, yeah? But there's not really bad characters in this list. They're all really good in their own niche and unique positions. If we were to, like, compare priorities, though, I would certainly rank them like this, in my personal opinion. Do note that it's just an opinion. If you disagree, let me know. But I hope we can have a civil discussion rather than just calling me a narrow-eyed idiot or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Don't know why I had to explain it that way, but you get the gist of it. You get what I'm trying to say, right? Yep, there we go. Double Etheria for giving us this ticket. I think it's really much needed, at least for people to stop complaining about Lily. Lily, a lot of people complain about. There's no banners for her, and she's just so valuable and make your job so much easier in the game. Might as well get yourself a Lily for free. And I think it's just a godsend, and people should be a lot happier than not having this ticket, yeah? And that'll be all. I hope I helped you out. Let me know who you're going to be going for the ticket, and that is all. Take care.